Resuming debate, the honourable member for Scarborough Centre.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are here today to talk about the new North American Free Trade Agreement, and whether you call it NAFTA 2.0, USMCA, or CUSMA. This agreement is a testament to the hard work of Canadians from across the political spectrum, from business to agriculture to labour, who came together to put Canada first and present a united front, a Team Canada, to reach an agreement that preserves access to our most important export markets and the millions of jobs that rely on that access. During these negotiations, over 47,000 Canadians shared their views with the negotiating team, including over 1,300 stakeholders representing, including small businesses, Indigenous groups, women entrepreneurs, academics, and youth. A non-partisan advisory council included former Conservative ministers Rona Ambrose and James Moore, NDP strategist Brian Topp, and leaders from labour and industry. Their advice and perspective helped make this agreement possible. I would like to thank the Deputy Prime Minister for her leadership and determination to pull this deal off. Under challenging circumstances, she got an agreement that not only preserves our market access, but makes real forward progress in areas such as protection for women's rights and minority rights, and the strongest ever labour and environmental chapters. Free and fair trade helps to support the quality middle-class jobs that support families in communities across the country. My community of Scarborough has a strong industrial base that relies on access to global paths, and particularly the North American market. The economies of Canada, the United States, and Mexico have become so integrated that before a product is complete, it could move across the border several times. Falcon Fasteners is a Scarborough company that sells a wide range of plated nails and brads across North America. Any type of nail you can think of, they probably make it. And they have grown from a 2% operation in 1956 to a North American leader today from their base in Scarborough. They rely both on access to the North American market and an access to affordable quality steel to make their products. This trade agreement secures that access and will allow them to continue to grow their business. Many companies in Scarborough rely on access to foreign markets. Bird Chilling Systems has provided hundreds of industrial refrigeration systems to customers in more than 50 countries. The Scarborough branch of Herox DefTech specializes in landing gear for aircraft and serves a global market. eCamion is a developer of leading-edge modular energy solutions. And the Cable Shop is an IT services and solutions company that works across borders to deliver the right technology to its clients. These are just few of the Scarborough-based companies exporting their expertise and leading-edge technology across Canada and, of course, around the world. Swift passage of this trade agreement gives them the confidence to continue to invest in and grow their business and create more quality jobs, confident they have a predictable and level playing field on which they can compete. It wasn't about getting just any deal. Madam Speaker, it was about getting a good deal. Let's talk about gender equality. For example, for the first time, this agreement includes enforceable provisions that protect women's rights and minority rights. This includes labor obligations regarding the elimination of employment discrimination based on gender. This is also the first international trade agreement that recognizes gender identity and sexual orientation as grounds for discrimination in the labor chapter. Why is gender equality so important? A McKinsey Global Institute report estimates that women's economic equality could add $150 billion to Canada's GDP by the year 2026. But women face barriers to full labor market participation, such as gender-based discrimination and lack of training. More women participation in the global economy is good for all of us. Let us talk about protecting Canada's cultural industry. Canadians are justifiably proud of our arts and cultural community. It is a $53.8 billion industry that represents over 650,000 quality jobs that support our middle-class families from coast to coast to coast. And it is not just the actors we see on the screen and the artists whose music we stream. It is the many thousands of technicians and professionals that support their work. By preserving Canada's cultural exemption, Canada has the flexibility to adopt and maintain progress and policies that support the creation, distribution, and development of Canadian artistic expression or content, including in the digital environment, and this is important in this streaming era. That's why we stood firm to protect the cultural exemption and our economic interest. Canada's cultural industries are world-class, and we all always defend our cultural sovereignty. Let us talk about protecting our environment. My constituents are deeply concerned about climate change and want to see Canada and the world doing all we can to protect our climate and our planet for our future generations. So I am pleased that the new NAFTA has an enforceable environment chapter, which replaces a separate side agreement. This chapter upholds air quality and fights marine pollution in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Why do environment protection belong in a trade agreement? Madam Speaker, it is about a level playing field and protecting the planet by protecting workers in all three countries. We believe that commitments to high levels of environmental protections are an important part of trade agreements. Perhaps no industry in Canada is more cross-border integrated than our auto industry. Canadian auto plants assemble more than 2 million vehicles every year. The automotive sector is Canada's largest export industry, supporting over 525,000 jobs and contributing $18 billion annually to our economy. Canada is a global leader in emerging automotive technology, such as lightweight materials, advanced safety systems, software and cybersecurity, and alternate powertrains. Free trade is essential to our auto industry, and the new rules of origin in this trade agreement level the playing field for Canada's high-wage worker. Our negotiations secure a side letter that's already in force that is gold-plated insurance policy against 232 possible tariffs on cars and car parts. Canada is the only G7 country with this protection. This is a great deal for labor, and don't just take my word for it. Madam Speaker, Jerry Dice of Unifor, one of Canada's largest unions, said, and I quote, "This is a much better deal than the deal that was signed 24 years ago," end quote. And Hassan Yusuf of the Canadian Labour Congress said that this deal, and I quote, "gets it right on labour provisions, including provisions to protect workers against employment discrimination on the basis of gender," end quote. And it is not just labour. Business is on board as well. The Business Council of Canada said, quote, "We applaud the government's success in negotiating a comprehensive and high-standard agreement on North American trade," end quote. Saskatchewan Premier Moe called this trade deal good news for Saskatchewan and Canada. And Premier Kenney of Alberta said he was relieved that a renewed NAFTA has been concluded. Madam Speaker, the renewed NAFTA defends Canada's farmers. It offers new protections for our auto sector. It protects our culture and it sets out new labor standards for gender and minority rights and environmental protections. Let us have a robust debate. Let's implement this trade agreement, and let's keep Canada's economy growing. This is a progressive trade agreement that will benefit our economy for years to come. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Question.